Hey people, how are we? How are we doing today? Sometime last week, I shared something on my wall, and it goes something like this. I'm paraphrasing now. It said, I don't know who needs to hear this, but the silent treatment is not teaching him a lesson. It's only telling him that you do not know how to handle conflict. That was the quote. And underneath it, I said something like, I know who needs to hear this. I am the who, and the who is me. And I got so many comments from you queens about that, different people asking different questions. And since then, I have been working on it. I've been asking questions of my own. And I can boldly say that I have come to some point in my life. Look, I am not the all in all in this area, but I have come to a place where I think I handle communication a bit better, especially as it relates with me and the people close to me, the people I work with, my hobby, or people I live with. Okay, and I can relate very well. I can relate to the silent treatment very well. And so I said, why don't we discuss it? Okay, and that's what I want to discuss today, the whole silent treatment thing. Where does it come from? Why did we decide that was a mode of communication? Okay, for those of you who don't know what we're talking about, the silent treatment is it's a communication tool. It's something we do whereby, and when I say we, I mean human beings. Okay, I have seen men who can give the silent treatment for 3 days. All right, but it's something people do where they withdraw a previous mode of emotional communication. What do I mean by that? Someone who is normally very happy, someone who is normally very chatty, or someone who behaves or who is known for a particular way of exposing his own emotions, all of a sudden decides to withdraw that chatty behavior, to withdraw the warm and bubbly personality. And that is what we call silent treatment. And if you notice in my definition, the first thing I said is a communication tool. It is saying something, it's telling the other party, I'm not fine. And so those of you who see people who are in that state and ask, are you okay? They are not okay. They are not okay. So there's no need to ask. I mean, asking may show that you care, but there are better things you can do. But that's not the topic for discussion today. The thing to know is that when someone is not behaving or discussing in his normal mode, this person is saying something. Mostly he's saying that something is wrong. Mostly he's saying that she's not happy with the way things are going. But generally speaking, it is a communication tool. Now, I know this because it is something I used to exhibit. I say used to because it's been a while. It's something I find myself doing every now and then. And I told myself over time that I did it not because I necessarily wanted to punish anybody, but because I just needed the space. Okay? Normally when I find myself exhibiting the silent treatment, it's because I am angry, I am hurt by something, and I feel I am not in a good place to begin to deal with my own emotions or to deal with the thing that the person has done. And so what I find myself doing is I just lock up. When I lock up, what happens? I start thinking about what the person did. I start ruminating over all that went down. But generally, from the outside, I am not talking. Now, let's ask why this is a predominantly female thing. The silent treatment is mostly given by females. Like I said earlier, I have seen men who give the silent treatment, but they are more in the exception. The first reason I'll give, and this is my thought pattern in helping us to begin to deal with silent treatment. The first thing you need to know about silent treatment is the quote I gave at the beginning. It doesn't help anybody. It doesn't punish anybody. In fact, I can, to some level of clarity, tell you that most times the people to whom you are giving the silent treatment are not completely aware of what they have done, and it does not stop that thing from happening again. I think if we all agree that the silent treatment doesn't help anybody, that would be a way to go. Okay, so back to the question, why is this a predominantly female thing? Why is this tool of communication mostly used by females all around the world to express their unhappiness about a situation? The first way I would like to answer that question is that something has happened in the general upbringing of females, especially in more traditional settings. And if you notice females who are not brought up in those traditional settings, you find that they don't have this kind of problem. They have other kinds of problems. They don't have this kind of communication problems. But females who are brought up in most traditional settings, there is some setting, there is some template in which the upbringing is done that does not pay attention to communicating, and then the default mode of communication becomes the silent treatment. I'll explain. Women, while they are still girls, are taught to repress the certain part of their emotions that communicates. And so when a girl is angry, you teach her that that is not how a lady should get angry. A lady does not scream, a lady does not shout, a lady is not known to express her anger, in such visible terms. And so earlier on in life, we begin to teach our girls not to talk too loud, not to be assertive, not to raise their voices, not to show anger in the way in which they would want to. But what we don't do is teach them how then do you express your anger? Is that a totally bad thing? Absolutely not. And so why am I telling you this? Why am I telling you that there is something that has gone wrong in your configuration that makes it difficult for you to express your emotions of bad? So that you know that someone has done you a favor. Someone has taught you how not to behave. Someone has taught you not to be a crazy girl. Someone has honed you, has given you good manners. But maybe the tools were not available or all available for you to learn how then, when I'm angry, do I behave? How then, when I need to make a point, do I make the point? How then can I have my own opinions and express them the way I ought to express them? So someone has tried, right? Your mother has tried, has taught you how to be prim and proper, has taught you how to be a girl. But now that you know that there was something missing in that training, which is how to be a woman, which is how to say, I don't like this, without bringing down the roof, which is to, tell you how to put your feet down without becoming a total biatch. So that is the part of the training that was missing. And so you have the tools necessary to begin to rework your communication skills and to begin to learn how to express yourself using your words, right? That's the important thing. The silent treatment is not the way to go. So what is the way to go? Fighting is not the way to go. Screaming down the house is not the way to go. But now that you know that someone has helped you these ways, you can now begin to work on expressing yourselves, saying what you want to see, saying how you want to be treated without drama. That is not today's discussion. I'm just telling you that that is part of the reason why you find yourself choosing to lock up. Okay, another reason why we choose the silent treatment. I don't know if it is fair to call it laziness, but sometimes it is hard work to sit down and rehash a matter to the end. To sit down and look at a conflict and go through the emotional hard work of going through that discussion. Sometimes it's a lot of work. And we see it this way. Most times we see it as a win-lose situation. If I am coming to the table to discuss this matter, I am coming to discuss with this other person how wrong she is, how she hurt my feelings, how she did this and she did that. And at the end of this discussion, I would have told her. And if she knows what is good for her, she should keep quiet and listen. And then she should apologize to me. And then I walk out of that table. And I have had a good discussion, because what have I done? I have done a talking to. So by the time you think about all of it, especially when it has happened once, you have gone to try and talk to someone and the person gave it back to you. In fact, at the end of the day, the person was so smart that it turned on you, and you have that in your memory. Sister, you do not want to go for the discussion anymore. The silent treatment will do. I'm just going to take some space. That is what you do. And I'm telling you, it's cheap. It's cheap because every time you go into a discussion about something that feels wrong, about a conflict is what it is. A conflict simply means that two people have different views about the same subject matter. And let me tell you, you must come to a point where you can see that two people can have different views on the same subject and both be correct. Two people can see the same thing differently, so differently, and both of them can be so correct. If you can get yourself to believe that, then you are coming to the discussion table to find out why. Sis, what were you thinking? How did you see it? And you are coming genuinely to understand how the person could have seen this situation so differently that inspired them to act. You may learn something. Can you come to the conflict resolution table hoping to learn something? Hoping to know something better? I know. These are big girl things we're talking about. And it's not easy, not even for the person talking to you. But it's the approach that has to be done. So it is cheaper to just say, I'll keep my distance. I'm just not going to talk about it. Let me tell you, the person who will not discuss a conflict with you, the person who will not sit down to discuss a conflict with you, yes, that is the person you can then stay away from. But try to talk about it. Try to talk about it. If there is a nudge on your throat about this, it needs to be talked about. If it is not going to let you see the person the same way, it needs to be talked about. There are some things that, you can live through. You don't need to discuss this and both of you will be fine. There are some things, if they are causing you hurt, you need to find a way. And when you come to talk about it, you need to know that this person can be right. Not that you can be wrong, that both of you can be right. Okay, let's leave that for now. And number 3, the third situation under which you are unable to get yourself to talk, instead you resort to the silent treatment, is that you are too hurt. That is a thing, and that is a complete anger management discourse. You are too hot, the blood is in your head, your heart is pumping, you cannot swallow, you don't trust yourself to talk. In this matter, in this situation where you are under this particular circumstance, yes, I'll advise you take a breather. Not for long. Take a walk. My people, I'm not sure you know all about taking a walk to calm your head down, but you need to drink water. Just step out politely, of course, but on that case, I agree. If you are too angry, it is the best time, really. It's the best time to try and hold it in. Would you be given the silent treatment at that time? Not completely. But I'm telling you that I know what it feels like to be too angry to say a word. And so what can you do? I have mentioned some. If that's your thing, take a walk, take a run if it's your thing. Do some other activity preferably an activity that saps your energy. You know, it gets the blood out of the head and out of your eyes, and you know, gets your mind into some other energy requiring thing that you can think about it, you know, in a more logical fashion. After that has been done, sometimes you may still not be in the best position to talk. What you can do is write. Okay, I don't think I'm the one that invented the writing therapy, but I have researched it, and there is such a thing about writing therapy. Now, it may be different for other people, and as I get more information on this, I might share. But when you are writing, you are not writing unprintable things that you wanted to tell the person. You are not writing that on paper. What you are writing is you are asking yourself questions, two of which I can remember right now. The first one is, what exactly was done? What exactly was done to get me this angry? Sometimes you are angry, so angry with someone, and you don't even know why. Can you try and write down what exactly did this person do to me? And the second question is like the first. Why? Why does this get me this angry? Why does someone calling me a fool get me this upset? Why is someone saying I have no hair? Why is this particularly upsetting to me? And then when you answer the why, ask the why to that why. Okay, if someone says oh, look at you, you are behaving like a dude, maybe, and it gets you very upset, the next question is, why does it get me that upset? And then you realize that, okay, maybe while you were growing up, this was particularly traumatizing for you. Then you need to deal with that. That is how the writing thing works. By the time you are done writing, the issue stops being what this other person said. And somehow it starts being, why am I tender in this area? Why is this spot this sore? Why is this area so tender that if someone says something around this area, it becomes a huge matter? And when you have figured this out, you must still go back and discuss. And when you are talking to this person now, remember, you are not saying, how dare you say this? How dare you? No. You are bringing your view to the table. You are bringing it. Remember, you have dealt with yourself. If you have dealt with yourself, when you come to the conflict resolution table, there is some humility you are coming with. You are not coming also pumped up, like even the blind can see that what you have done is wrong. You know that it is possible for someone with two clear seeing eyes to say what they said, because that person does not know that you are dealing with what you are dealing with. And so you come with that clarity. And then if this person is someone you can be open with, do you know how empathic the person would now be if you can let the person know that, I think I have been dealing with some issues, and so when you said this and that, it went straight to my area of insecurity and it hurt me, and I did not mean to respond in the way. That conversation is going to go very well. And you know what is better? Both of you will be encouraged in the future to handle your situations with your words. I know it's not a one cap fits all, but I know that most of the time, the things that you are angry about, especially when the other person cannot see it, when the other person is also angry, I know that most times when investigated, both parties have some right in them. Both parties, to some degree, are also correct. That is what happens. I hope this helps you. See you much more later.